My sister sprayed perfume in my son's eyes. Mom laughed. If he's blind now, maybe he won't see he's a burden too. Dad said, well, at least he smells better now. They had no idea what was coming next. The scent hit me before the scream. I was rinsing dishes in the cramped kitchen of my parents' house, my hands trembling from hours of babysitting my niece while they all watched TV. My 7-year-old son, Jesse, had been playing quietly in the corner with his coloring book. He wasn't loud, he never was. He'd learned silence meant safety. Then came the scream. Ah, Mom, Mommy, my eyes, I dropped the plate. It shattered. I ran. He was on the floor near the hallway, curled into himself. His small hands pressed against his face, red dripping through his fingers. What happened? Jesse, baby, look at me, I cried. But he couldn't. And then she spoke, calm, flat, unbothered. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. He looked at me too long, freaked me out, my sister Marla said, shrugging as she held up a glittery bottle of her luxury perfume. So, I gave him a little lesson in boundaries. What? Are you insane? I grabbed the bottle from her hand and threw it across the room. My whole body was shaking. Jesse was still screaming, his eyes clenched, his skin red and blotchy. I was trying to wipe his face gently with a damp cloth when I heard it. Laughter, from behind me. My mother, sitting on the couch with a bowl of chips in her lap, chuckled and said to my dad, "At least he smells better now." My father didn't even look up, should have taught him not to stare. Boys like him always grow up pervy. I froze. I felt something twist and break inside me. I scooped Jesse into my arms and ran to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. I flushed his eyes over and over again with lukewarm water. His screams became sobs and then shudders, and then silence, not peace, just surrender. He fell asleep curled up in my lap on the bathroom floor. I stayed there the whole night. In the morning they knocked, my sister first. Mom says you're being dramatic again, he's fine. I didn't answer. Then a mother's voice sharper. You'd better come out now before you flood my damn floor with your tears. You always were the sensitive one. No wonder Marla turned out stronger. I opened the door. Jesse was pale, quiet. I packed his things. You're not leaving, my mom snapped. You've got rent due, and we feed you in that thing. That thing is my son. He's a burden, she spat. I looked at my dad, he said nothing. Just went back to his newspaper. We left anyway. I didn't have a car, so I walked to Jesse 4 miles to the nearest urgent care. The nurse took one look at him and asked, "What happened to his eyes?" He was attacked. By who? Family. That was the first time I said it out loud. The doctor said it was chemical irritation, no permanent damage luckily, but he would need antibiotic eye drops for a week. I spent my last $28 on the prescription. That night, we slept on the floor of my CO worker's garage. He had an old mattress in there, smelled like motor oil, but it was better than anything we had at home. Jesse whispered, "Is she coming back, the mean lady?" "No," I whispered, "she's gone." But I knew she wasn't, not really. The next morning I went back to work at the diner. I scrubbed dishes until my knuckles bled. I served coffee to people who didn't even look me in the eye. I smiled, I nodded. I worked like I didn't carry rage in my chest like broken glass. Weeks passed, my parents didn't call. My sister posted pictures of her new makeup routine and labeled it, "Healing Era." Jesse got quieter, flinched at sudden movements, refused to look anyone in the eye. And still, I worked. One night after closing I stood alone in the back room staring at my phone. I was trying to decide whether to report them, the police, CPS, anyone. But a voice in my head whispered, "They'll cover for each other. They always have." And it was true, I'd been the scapegoat for 26 years. But that night, as I watched Jesse sleep on that stained mattress in a stranger's garage, I made a decision. I wasn't going to run. I was going to rise. I didn't want justice. I wanted consequence. And I would build it myself. It started with silence. I didn't post about what happened. I didn't confront them. I didn't even respond when Marla sent me a voice note a week later saying, "You need to teach that creepy little gremlin of yours not to be so weird." He's lucky I didn't use hairspray. I just blocked her quietly. I blocked all of them. Then, I worked. I worked doubles at the diner, cleaned houses on the side, and babysat overnight shifts when I could. Jesse started drawing again. He drew superheroes. Most of them had one eye shut. When I saved up enough, I rented a tiny room above an auto shop. One window, one mattress, no privacy, but peace. Still, I wasn't done. I started therapy for Jesse, free clinic, group sessions. Slowly he stopped jumping every time someone laughed. He started calling me mama again, instead of just whispering when he needed something. And me? I started taking courses. I would get off my shift at the diner, drop Jesse at group care, then walk to the local adult learning center and study child psychology, trauma response, and family abuse patterns. I didn't know what it would lead to. I just knew I needed knowledge because rage wasn't enough. I needed to know exactly what they had done and how to dismantle it. One night, I was walking Jesse home from his session when he looked up at me and said, "You're like a superhero." I smiled. "I don't have powers, baby." "Yes, you do. You protect." I didn't cry. Not then, but later that night, I wrote down a promise in a notebook. I will never let anyone laugh at his pain again. I will rebuild us from the ground up. Over the next 2 years, that's exactly what I did. I got certified as a trauma support aide. I started volunteering at the same clinic that once helped Jesse. I got a job as a program coordinator for abuse recovery in schools. I never contacted my parents. But they noticed me. Marla did first. She sent a message on a fake account. "Saw your little speech at that school thing. Cute. Guess being a victim is trendy now." I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, my father showed up at the diner. Yes, the same one. He sat at the booth in the corner and ordered coffee like nothing had ever happened. "You still working here? Thought you'd be crawling back by now." I walked over, refilled his cup, and said nothing. "Your mother's birthday is coming up. You coming or not?" I looked him dead in the eye. "No." He laughed, still holding a grudge over that little cologne thing. It was perfume. "What's the difference?" "Ask your grandson," I said. He blinked. For a moment, I saw it, the flicker of shame, but he masked it with contempt. "You think you're better than us now?" "No," I said. "I know I am." I turned and walked away. That was the last time I saw him in public. But behind the scenes, my sister's social media started cracking. Screenshots of her old posts, comments mocking Jesse, videos making fun of disabled kids, even a few horrifying voice notes, began circulating in parent groups, not from me, not publicly, but quietly, carefully, shared by people I trusted. She lost a sponsorship deal, then another, and then her boyfriend dumped her when someone emailed him a certain video titled, "She Deserved It." Her voice describing what she did to Jesse. She posted a tearful video. People are so sensitive nowadays, like, grow up. But her comments were flooded. "Your nephew isn't sensitive, you're a monster." Imagine doing that to a child, then laughing. The internet didn't forget. My parents didn't react at first, until the inheritance drama began. My grandmother, Dad's mom, had passed 6 months earlier. We hadn't spoken in years, but she'd found me before she died. Quietly, she told me, "You remind me of myself when I was young, strong, unwanted, unbreakable." She rewrote her will, left everything to Jesse. Not me, Jesse. In the moment that will was read out loud, my mother choked on her drink and screamed, "What? To that little mute brat?" The lawyer looked up and calmly said, "That little mute brat now owns the house you live in." I didn't even have to attend the meeting. But they called me, over and over. I let it ring. Until one day I answered, "Please," my mom's voice was trembling. "We're being kicked out. You can't let them do this. Jesse doesn't even understand what a will is." "He understands cruelty," I said. "He lived with you. We didn't mean it." "You laughed, please." I looked over at Jesse. He was coloring on the balcony, happy, whole. Then I hung up. I wasn't done yet. I didn't sleep the night before the hearing. Yes, there was a hearing. Not because I pressed charges, I hadn't, but because my sister had filed a petition for custody of Jesse's inheritance. She claimed I was emotionally unstable, vindictive, and manipulating the will of a senile old woman through guilt. She had the audacity to file a document claiming I was using my own son for financial gain. They thought silence meant I was scared. They didn't understand. I was waiting. So, I walked into that courtroom not alone, but with Jesse's therapist, a social worker, 2 teachers, and a volunteer coordinator who testified about how many hours I'd worked at trauma center. They didn't speak with rehearsed legalese. They spoke with emotion. Jesse came to us afraid of eye contact, his therapist said. He now speaks to other children. That is not by accident. His mother never asked for praise, the teacher said. She asked what else she could do. Every hour she wasn't working, the coordinator said. She was helping someone else's child. My sister sat there, arms crossed, whispering furiously to my mother. My dad didn't show. When it was her turn to speak, she stood up, smiled at the judge and said, I just don't think that someone who holds a grudge this long should be in charge of that much money. I mean, it's about Jesse, isn't it? The judge blinked. Miss Donnelly, she said, do you understand that this hearing is not about your personal feelings, but about the well-being of a child? Marla's smirk faltered. She glanced at her lawyer, then at me. I didn't even look back. It wasn't about her anymore. When the gavel came down, the decision was final. The inheritance remained with Jesse. The estate was placed in a trust until he turned 18, with me as sole administrator. Marla and my parents were issued a restraining order, citing past abuse, online harassment, and a clear pattern of emotional endangerment. The moment court adjourned, I walked past them. My mom lunged forward. You evil little witch! How dare you do this to your own blood? I didn't stop. But I did pause just long enough to turn my head and say, you all made Jesse bleed. I'm just making sure no one does again. She froze. And that was the last time I saw her. In the years that followed, Jesse thrived. We moved into a small but sunny place outside town. He took piano lessons. He made friends. He started standing up straight. He even wrote a story once, a superhero tale. The villain, a woman who sprayed fire at children's eyes because they made her feel ugly. I asked him what happened to the villain at the end. She wasn't defeated, he said. Then what happened? She was forgotten. And that was it. The best revenge wasn't money. It wasn't exposure. It was living in a world where they no longer mattered. Where Jesse got to be a child. Where laughter didn't mean pain. Where his mom didn't flinch every time a car door slammed. Where silence wasn't fear, but peace. We never went back to the old house. We never tried to rebuild what never existed. Instead, we built something new. And in that quiet, beautiful life, they became exactly what they deserved to be: nothing. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.